Welcome to our spring football preview shows. We're out here on the practice fields, team behind us, coming off a 2-10 season. Of course, it's an early spring ball this year, as we're going to have that spring game coming up on March 15th at 2 o'clock at Folsom Field. Let's hope it's not snowing on that March 15th. Along with B.G. Brooks from CUBuffs.com, I'm Mark Johnson of 850 KOA Radio. First off, Butch, it's such an early spring game. It's hard to even start thinking football when the basketball teams are in postseason play.
Well, actually, it's winter football. It's,
yes, it is.
This is one of the only days that they've been outside. They've been over here in the practice bubble most of the spring. So bright sunshine today, though, snowbanks all around, but it's a beautiful day. It's great to be outside, and I'm looking forward to the spring game on Sunday.
Yeah, hence that's the reason for the sunglasses. It's not that our future's so bright we have to wear shades. It's the fact it's actually sunny here in Boulder for the first time in quite some time. Coming up a 2-10 campaign. Mike McIntyre and the staff have got a lot of work to do, don't they?
Absolutely, and he's already started the work. He started in the off-season by, I think shoring up the defense. He's got some guys coming in, JC guys, who I think are going to help right away. Jim Leavitt, a highly energized defensive coordinator. Very good things I've heard about him during spring ball so far, and there's no doubt that the guy is a ball of energy.
I think when it took so long for Mike McIntyre to fill that defensive coordinator position, I think people were beginning to wonder what was going on. He really made a splash by bringing in a guy that's a former head coach, was at South Florida, comes to the Buffaloes from being the linebackers coach at San Francisco. So really kind of, I think, made a pretty big splash with this hire.
Yeah, he really did. Jim Leavitt's background is superb. The resume as a defensive coordinator, I'm not sure that you could match it. And he's been with some rebuilding projects. He started a program from scratch at South Florida. He was with Kansas State under Bill Snyder when Snyder got that whole thing turned around. So he has some experience in reconstruction, and that's what this is going to take.
Well, let's start talking about the Buffaloes on the defensive side. We start on the defensive line with assistant coach Jim Jeffcoat.
Well, the biggest thing is to understand what we want to accomplish as far as being physical, playing with low pad level, and moving around and getting to the ball. I see some experience and maturity, but they know they got to step it up for us to get to our goals. We all have to step it up, including myself. No question, it does feel good and excited about it. I'm excited about the players because they look like they're going to make a big step forward.
And there's some new faces on that defensive front. Coach Mike McIntyre went the junior college route, and I think it's important in the Pac-12. The way the style of play is, you've got to be stout up front defensively. And Mac went out and got those JUCO guys, and they appear to be the kind of players that can make a difference.
Yeah, they're big bodies. They have some credentials. Jordan Carroll was an All-American JC guy at American River. Comes in very highly touted. Blake Robbins is a big guy. And you got guys coming back like Josh Tupou. So, I think they're going to be better up front. And Mike McIntyre has said constantly during spring ball, if you're going to have a good defense, you got to start up front. So they've addressed that.
And I was going to say, certainly there's a couple of defensive ends, and Jimmy Gilbert and Derek McCartney, who I think pretty impressive early on in their careers for the Buffaloes last year. And it's almost like they picked up a recruit. Samson Kafavalu is coming back. Samson was a guy before he left the institution that I think made a pretty good impact, and he's coming back, and they're real high on him.
Very much so. Jimmy Gilbert, I think, needs to gain weight. That's been an ongoing issue, but he's very quick. He's an aggressive kid. So, I would count on him to be a good pass rusher. And Derek McCartney, I think, proved himself last year in his first year. So, with the addition of Samson Kafavalu, I think, you're going to have a pretty good defensive line. All remains to be seen, of course, but on paper, for what it's worth, it looks good.
And you certainly hope that's the case in the Pac-12. Many times we talk so much about the passing game of the Pac-12, but Colorado has got to get better against the run in 2015.
Exactly. Buffs were low last year in Pac-12 in run defense, so you got to put together a stout defensive line. I think McIntyre is on the way to doing that, so I'm looking forward to see how well they stop the run.
Well, behind that defensive front is the linebackers, and one guy who certainly made a name for himself in 2014 and hopes to continue this upcoming season is Kenneth Olabode.
I'm really excited. We get to have fun. We get to be out here and see all the hooping and hollering and stuff out there with big hits, and it's always fun to be able to come out here and hit people. Coach Leavitt brings a lot of energy. He's a great guy. Always on the move, and never lets us walk anywhere. Always running. I mean, there are a lot of surprises. Different guys might be out there playing, running around. I know we still have that same speed and great effort that we had last year.
Kenneth Olugbode led the Buffaloes in tackles in 2015, again hoping in his junior campaign to do the same for the Colorado Buffaloes. Butch, how about the linebacking core? There were some losses there, but a relatively talented group.
Yeah, losses included Woodson Greer and Brady Day, a couple of guys who have been in the program for a while, were mainstays. But the linebacking core, I think, by and large, should be a good one. Addison Gillum is coming back. He needs to stay healthy. He had issues last year that ranged from concussions to a shoulder to an elbow. I don't think there was a 2 or 3 week stretch last year where he wasn't battling something. So he's got to stay healthy. I like really Kenneth Olugbode, very fast guy, quick, has picked up the scheme, and I think Jim Levitt is probably the linebacker coach, is probably going to really like what he sees from Olugbode as well as Gillum.
Yeah, Gillum was a guy that certainly made an enormous splash. Was in fact a freshman All-American in some respects around the country, but the injuries really hurt him his sophomore campaign. Also adding some depth there, defensive lineman Christian Shaver moving to the linebacking core.
Yeah, defensive end, starting his career last spring or last fall, and he's moved to the linebacker core. I think they believe he can be a good stand-up guy. He's fast enough. In fact, somebody who has watched CU football for a while and has this spring said that Shaver could be the next Addison Gillum. So that's pretty high praise.
Well, let's talk about that defensive secondary, an area where the Buffs should have a great deal of talent in 2015, and a guy who's become a playmaker for Colorado, Chido Awuzie.
We're just working on learning the new defense, getting a feel for the new coaches, and really just getting our bond back and communication. We lost a lot of guys last year, so we're just trying to get that chemistry back. It's fun. They're very passionate, energetic guys, and we like to have fun too, so they just make football way more. We love to come out here. They make football way more fun and way more energetic for us.
And there's no doubt the pass-happy Pac-12, B.J. Brooks, that you've got to have talent on the back end of a defense.
Yeah, the Pac-12 is a passing league, no way around that. The numbers are astounding. The quarterbacks are generally very good every fall. So if you're going to defend the pass, several things go into that, but you center on the secondary and having guys who can cover.
The Buffaloes did lose Terrell Smith. He was a captain for the Buffaloes on the defensive side and a guy that was a real character guy and certainly became a factor late in the season. But how do you replace a guy like Greg Henderson, a 4-year starter at corner for the Buffaloes?
Well, I think it can be done. His experience, no doubt, will be missed, and he made some big plays. But the thing I like about these guys in the secondary I'm seeing this spring is that they look all like corners and safeties. They're rangy guys. They have length. They can run. So I'm really looking forward to how this bunch is going to play out. And you've got a new secondary coach, too, in Joe Tompkin. So he's going to have a good group to work with, and he has a good group to work with.
Tompkin comes to the Buffaloes after being the defensive coordinator at Central Michigan. You think of some of the names coming back: John Walker, Kenneth Crowley, Chido Awuzie, whom we just heard from, Akella Witherspoon, Tedrick Thompson. We hope that he gets healthy. Certainly some guys with experience are going to be filling out that secondary.
Yeah, and you've got a JC guy who comes in, Afalage Laguda, who is, I understand, done very well in this spring. He's another of those rangy guys, 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds, can run. So I think the prospects are very, very bright to have a better secondary this year.
Well, let's move to the offensive side of the football. We'll see if the Buffs can break some records that they set a year ago for Colorado. We start out with one of the young fellas up front, Alex Keller.
Practice is going good. I mean, if you look at where we were this time last year compared to where we are now, it's just phenomenal where we're at. And everyone's competing out here 100 miles an hour, and we're getting a lot better.
We've got 8 practices completed thus far, and Wednesday we're going to scrimmage a little bit, but I've been really happy with the way the kids have practiced what we've done so far. We've cross-trained numerous guys playing center and guard or left and right sides of the field.
Offensive line coach Gary Bernardi in year 3. He, of course, came to Colorado when Mike McIntyre took over almost 3 seasons ago now. Now for the Buffaloes in that front line, they got a couple of spots they got to replace. A couple of older guards are missing going into 2015.
Yeah, you got Kai Crabb and Daniel Munyer, who are gone, who were really mainstays in the offensive line for a couple of years there, 3. But you've got able replacements. I think Gerard Coe is a guy who's stepping up the other guard position. Actually, both guard positions that I'm not sure will come out of spring ball being filled. So you'll go into fall camp with that competition still going on, which is always a good thing. but you've got capable guys who can step in there.
You know, is in a league where there's a lot of passing, and we saw last year what Sefo Liufau did throwing the football, setting all kinds of records here at the University of Colorado. You got to have protection on the edges. Jeremy Irwin and Stefan Nimbot appear to be very good at left and right tackle, respectively.
Yeah, I think Stefan Nimbot is finally finding himself, finally getting into a rhythm, knowing the system here, and physically, there's never been a question that this guy has got those kind of tools. But I think Mike McIntyre is very high on Stefan this year, and I think for good reason. We'll see how that develops.
How about Alex Kelly? We just heard from Alex just a moment ago. One of the great personalities on this football team. Does he look like the kind of guy that's going to be an anchor at that center position?
Oh, I think so. I think he's experienced. I think he certainly has the wide body, the frame that you're looking for a good center. And he's picked up so much. I think he's the kind of guy that really can make the calls that a center has to make in the offensive line, pick up schemes, direct guys. So I really think that the offensive line is going to take a good step up now.
Now, as we continue on our Colorado football preview shows, we get ready for that spring game coming up on March 15th. We turn our attentions to the wide receivers and tight ends. And who else are you going to start with but Nelson Spruce?
As far as the wide receivers go, I think spring ball's been going well. We're really far along in the playbook as opposed to the last few years. So we're working on some little things, little details that we can help improve our game. We do a lot of individual drills where we'll work quickness off the line, like certain releases, and we're doing a lot of work in the top of our routes as far as, getting in and out of breaks or certain cuts that we like to do.
Record-setting receiver Nelson Spruce. And I guess, BG, as you look at this wide receiver core for 2015, Nelson's a pretty good place to start.
Oh, can't start anywhere else. You talk enough to the receivers and the coaching staff and whatever, and you come away with the same thing every time, and that's Nelson Spruce is the total package. In talking to guys last year, comparing him with Paul Richardson. Now, Richardson had the blazing speed. Richardson could catch the ball. He could do a lot of things, and he's in the NFL now, so obviously that's true. But Nelson, I think, is really a guy that the ball comes to him, he's going to catch it. I don't know the stats on his drops from last year, but they were few. So the ball gets to Nelson, he's going to catch it, and he's learned to do something with it. He's really a great receiver.
He might be the most complete receiver the Buffaloes have had in quite some time. Good place to start, obviously. There's some depth there, though. Bryce Bobo, who's not practicing, if at all, during this spring ball. Donovan Lee is out there. And Jay McIntyre, Mike McIntyre's kid, might end up being a part of this group come 2015.
Yeah, I think so. He's shown up well. He's an athlete, and he can catch the ball. I think he lends depth to that position. The other thing that to mention, you lose a guy like Dede Goodson, who is a slot player, and Mike McIntyre was looking at his depth before spring ball started, and he said watch Donovan Lee to move into that slot position. But Donovan Lee can do a lot of things. He's shown up well at running back at times this spring.
Yeah, he's very athletic as well. Now at tight end, Kyle Slavin is gone. How do we look at that position?
Well, you look at guys like Sean Irwin coming back. I think Sean Irwin is going to be a very good tight end. Another guy to watch, I think, who's developing is Connor Center. You won't find a better specimen, I think, than Connor Center is. An interesting story on him. He didn't play football, came to CU. He was a pitcher in high school, baseball pitcher. And, talking about an imposing figure on the mound, he's about 6'7", weighs in the neighborhood now of 260 or so. So keep an eye on him. He's developing.
Dylan Keeney's another guy you may see a tight end a little bit this season. We switched to running backs now. That appears to be a very deep group in 2015.
No doubt. Christian Powell, you start there. Michael Adkins, you've got guys, coming back with experience. You've got a JC guy coming in. You've got a transfer, from Boise State. So I think that position is going to be a good one. Philip Lindsay coming back. Philip Lindsay, there's nobody in spring who's run any harder than that.
Yeah, Philip Lindsay is always kind of a fan favorite to watch. He runs with great passion. Of course, Tony Jones, after a very nice career here at Colorado, is gone. How about you look at the fullback position with George Frazier? Are we going to see more from George Frazier at fullback or defensive end, do you think, this season?
Well, I think the jury is still out on that. I think they would like to station him in one place, and I think that place would be offense. But I think that depends on the development on defense, particularly at end. But George Frazier is another specimen. George can, he weighs about 250 or maybe a little above. Very good hands, comes out of the backfield, catches the ball, can block. So I think as a tight end H-back and fullback, he fits the bill.
Well, the guy that gets to move all these chess pieces on the offensive side is offensive coordinator Brian Lindgren. Here's some comments from the OC about the total offense and his quarterback.
Well, I think the quarterback group, the first guy to talk about is Sefo Liufau, and I think he's obviously got 2 years of playing experience in the Pac-12. I think he's learned a lot from that. And out here, I just think everything's really slowed down for him. And I think he's seeing the coverage and the defense really well. I think he's got a good handle of what we're trying to do on offense, how I'm thinking, and calling the plays. And, I'm really excited about his development, so far. And he's had a great spring.
And at quarterback, you've got a guy who was cemented at the position after being a 2-year starter and a team captain. He set 107 records last year passing for the Colorado Buffaloes. Sefo Liufau. What do you expect from Sefo in year number 3?
Good things. I think he's gained weight. He's up to about 240. He tells me that his mobility is better. He tells me that he's going to be a better factor in the read option, pulling it in, running it when necessary, doing those things. But I think he has a better grasp of what's going on. He has admitted on several occasions that he needs to make better decisions with the ball, but I think that comes with experience. I think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, without question. Now that keep in mind, it was only midway through last year that he completed his first year as a starter. So he's got a year and a half under his belt. Very smart kid. You expect big things from Sefo Liufau in 2015. We expect that his backup is going to be Jordan Gerke this season.
Yeah, Jordan got a couple of starts last year. He's got experience. The coaching staff is still very high on Jordan, his accuracy, his mobility. I think he will be a good backup quarterback. The other guy to mention will be redshirt freshman Cade Apsey. They were very high on Cade Apsey when they signed him 2 years ago. Very accurate in high school, still learning the system, but I think, that's the position you want your quarterbacks in. You want them to grow into the system, and 2 or 3 years in, you want them to start blossoming.
Let's turn our attention to special teams. The two of them have been security blankets the last few seasons for the Buffaloes. Dara O'Neal, the punter, Will Oliver, the kicker, both gone. A lot of new coming in 2015, those special teams positions.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The guy that really created the buzz as a kicker last fall was Diego Gonzalez. Very strong leg. I think he needs to work on his accuracy, as a lot of kickers do, but I think he'll certainly be in the mix.
And then also keep in mind a guy that once we get here to the fall, a young man out of Fort Collins by the name of Alex Kinney. I think they're very excited about having him. He kind of anchored the Buffs recruiting class. He was thought to be one of the best kickers in America coming to become a Buffalo this upcoming season. All right, Colorado opens up the regular campaign early this year. It's a game on September 3rd on the road against Hawaii. Nothing like heading to Hawaii in early September.
Great way to start the season, and hopefully, you go to the islands, you get a win, and, starts it off right. Not a bad place to play, but a very tough place to play because of Hawaii's home advantage, and it's significant.
Of course, we still have the Rocky Mountain Showdown down in Denver against Colorado State, but everyone's excited about that September 12th game at Folsom Field. In fact, as we sit here in the practice fields, we can glance up at all the construction. The facilities should be completed by that point in time, at least the bulk of them anyway, and that's going to be a huge upgrade for this program.
No doubt. It's been something people have been shooting for years here, and it's finally coming to fruition. You look at the cranes on campus, you look at the construction, the progress of it, and it's an exciting time.
Well, a lot of excitement for Mike McIntyre in year number 3. The spring game coming up on Sunday, March 15th at 2 o'clock at Folsom Field. We'll have the broadcast, by the way, on 850 KOA. Chad Brown, Justin Adams, and yours truly with the call, and describe what we're seeing in terms of the Buffaloes getting ready for 2015. For BG Brooks from CUBuffs.com, I'm Mark Johnson of 850 KOA Radio. We'll talk to you next time.